Last week, I got to go on the trip of a lifetime back down to Rockfield Studios in South Wales. And while it was my third trip to Rockfield, it was the first one that was quite so drenched in so much rock and roll history. A while back, I did an interview with famed sound engineer and producer Nick Brine, who was present behind the sound desk for the whole recording of both What's the Story Morning Glory and Be Here Now by Oasis. And following that interview, I let him into a little plan I had for a future video and asked him if he would like to be involved. I wanted to go back to Rockfield Studios to completely recreate the song Don't Look Back in Anger from scratch. I wanted to put the drums in the same position and use the same mics, the bass in the same place, same mics on the amp, same with the guitar, same with the vocals, and so on. We would also be using the same iconic piano, which is still there in the Coach House studio, and to cap it all, we would still even have the same guy visible through the glass, Nick. Nick said he was up for it and then raised the bar quite significantly, because he offered to bring along Noel Gallagher's acoustic guitar, the exact one that was used on the Morning Glory sessions, which is now in Nick's possession.
Got your guitar there.
Is that mine?
Do you remember giving me that guitar?
Did I give it to you?
From the sessions.
Fuck off.
Yeah.
No way.
You didn't give me this until Abbey Road, Be Here Now.
Right.
Because mine was in 1,000 pieces on the control room of Abbey Road floor.
Oh, because we're in a fight.
Somebody thought it was yours.
So someone called Liam had smashed my guitar up.
Yeah. So you gave me this one.
No fucking
I've had it
way.
since then, so 90.
So I would have used it on this record?
Yeah.
So that's the one I played Wonderwall on. Fucking hell, you jammy bastard. That's going to be worth tens of pounds one day. Giving guitars away?
Yeah.
I must have been high. Was I?
I
was high, wasn't I?
I think so.
Of course, I immediately accepted Nick's offer, and last week, we made it happen. Last week, myself and a group of about a dozen friends, guests, musicians, all headed down to Monmouth from all over the country, and in one person's case, from the other side of the world. Okay, I'm here in Monmouth. We are staying in the Premier Inn on the night before going to Rockfield, because Rockfield is absolutely rammed. This is the hotel, and apparently Robert Plant stayed here a few nights ago. And that is Will. And he's Australian. Woo! And he's going to be our drummer on the session. And you might recognise him from the Oasis medley we did a while back. 7 Oasis songs in one. Go check it out if you haven't seen it yet. Will flew in from Australia to join us on this session, and not only that, but he actually skipped a chance to go see Liam at Nebworth so that he could come and do this with us. And at the end of the session he had no regrets, as you'll see soon. Okay, the day has come. We've checked out of the hotel and off we go to Rockfield Studios. Welcome to sunny Rockfield Studios in South Wales. Last time I was here, it looked like this. So I'm here at Rockfield and it is pissing it down. Fucking hell. Me and my lovely other half drove down through a constant storm all the way, literally all the way from the top of North Yorkshire all the way to South Wales. I don't know if you can see that on the camera. It is frigging bouncing down. But today, the sun is shining and it looks like this. For quite a while now, I've had the dream of trying to put together a version of Don't Look Back in Anger using the same studio, the same mics, the same piano, we've got the same guitar, and even with Nick there behind the glass. And today, at Rockfield Studios, we're making it happen. We're doing it as authentically as possible. Nick was there, so he's got the mic placements on the drums in the same place, he's using the same mics on the piano, we've got the guitar amps and the bass amp in the same place. John, who's playing lead guitar, has the same guitar Noel used in the Don't Look Back in Anger music video. And there's going to be a moment where I'm sat at Rockfield Studios in the Coach House holding Noel Gallagher's guitar with the same strings on it in the same place with the same mics, looking through the glass and seeing the same guy through the window that Noel did. It's going to be a historic moment for me, because at that moment there will only have been two people in history who've had that experience, Noel and me. So I'm here in the Coach House studio with Nick, and we're going for 100% authenticity. Nick was there when they recorded Don't Look Back in Anger, so he's doing the exact same drum setup as Alan White had, and literally the same microphones as well. We're in the same spot with the same man behind the desk. Here we go. So Will is here for the first time in the Coach House studio. We're about to get set up with the drums. Will.
Yeah.
What is it like, mate, to be in Wales at Rockfield Studios all the way from Australia for the first time?
It might be the greatest thing I've ever done.
Noel Gallagher's acoustic guitar, now in Nick Brine's possession, is probably the single most significant guitar in the entire Oasis canon. Nick even showed me the provenance signed by Noel, confirming that this guitar is the first thing you hear on the What's the Story Morning Glory album, buried down in the mix on the song Hello. The first sound on Morning Glory is in fact this guitar. But after our session with Nick was complete, as I started putting this video together, I discovered even more incredible history behind the guitar. It was used in many of the band's most iconic moments, and some of them that I think Nick and Noel didn't even remember. Here is what seems to be the exact same guitar on The Late Late Show in 1996, on which Noel performs Wonderwall and Live Forever. Here's what seems to be the same guitar on the entirety of the MTV Unplugged show, also in 1996. Here's Noel in Italy in 1996, performing what might be the only ever live version of It's Better People. Here's Noel at Nebworth. Look at the guitar he's using exclusively, both nights, for the 4-song acoustic set, in which the band play Whatever, Cast No Shadow, Wonderwall, and The Masterplan. Check out the guitar Noel's using here on the Howard Stern show in America in 1997. Here we see Noel, Liam and Alan White recording live by the pool at Boneheads, performing the acoustic version of Stand By Me, which the band recorded for the BBC documentary Right Here, Right Now. Here's Noel again playing acoustic in the music video for Don't Go Away. And here's Noel with a Takamine in his hands in 1998 at the tail end of the Be Here Now tour in South America, acoustically performing Don't Go Away on a South American show called Hora Prima. So, as you can see from those clips, while Noel technically gave the guitar to Nick during the Be Here Now sessions, Nick clearly didn't actually get to take full possession of it until after the Be Here Now tour. We spent the morning of day one with Nick getting all the various instruments set up, mic'd up and EQ'd in the absolutely sweltering heat. And first up, it was Will, recording Alan White's drum part. Will has just done something historic.
Yes, Nick has recorded Don't Look Back in Anger with 2 drummers, Alan White and me.
We then moved on to recording the bass, and to keep everything authentic, we set up the cab in the vocal booth at the back right, while Martin tracked it in the control room.
The bass was set up in the booth in here, which we're going to mic up now. We've got the actual U47 as well that was used.
So here's Martin
bass booth
in the Grigsy booth.
Yeah, he would be playing in the control room with the cables running through to the amp in here.
Martin screwed up! Martin screwed up!
And next, having got drums and bass guitar recorded, we began to get set up for the big moment, the acoustic guitar. By this point in the day, it was so hot at Rockfield that the heat was starting to knock all the guitars out of tune in the control room. But thankfully, Noel recorded his acoustic guitar parts in the much cooler studio room. So I went in there wearing my dad shorts and we began getting set up.
So basically, I had a little setup here for Noel to do the guide track. So he would sit here with the acoustic, we'd run him a click, and he'd put down the guide acoustic, guide vocal, just to a click track. And they were all done in here, just sat here, which is then where we ended up recording the acoustics as well. Apart from the only guide track we did differently was Wonderwall, which we did outside on the Wonderwall.
Look, it's Ed.
Yo!
What are you playing?
I was just doing some riffing, really, a bit of practicing, but I came here to do some Wonderwall and I got that into my belt, and now I can take off the bucket list, you know?
So last year I got to sit on the Wonderwall and play Wonderwall. This time it's Ed. Go on, mate. I sent Nick a text in the week running up to Rockfield saying, should I bring down a spare set of strings for the guitar? If it's been in a display case, they might be a bit crusty, they might need changing. And he replied saying, don't change them because they're still the originals. And so the epicness of this guitar continued to get ever more epic. So far, we have recorded the drums set up in exactly the same way as Alan White had them back in '95. We've recorded the bass in the same room. We're going to do the guitar in the same room as Noel used. But next, I'm going to record the acoustic guitar using Noel's actual guitar, using Noel's actual strings, sat in the same place Noel was sat, using the exact same microphones, and looking through the window into the control room with the exact same man sat behind the glass. And here is the guitar's illustrious owner, Mr. Nick Brine.
How you doing? So it's only fitting that we get to use it on this session, I think. This is, has recently appeared on the documentary with Noel.
There she is. So Nick, tell us a story about how you came by this guitar.
So we were in Abbey Road Studios recording Be Here Now, and I went into the control room, found my guitar in 1,000 pieces on the floor. Liam had mistakenly thought it was Noel's and was not too happy with him that day and decided to smash one of Noel's up and mine, thinking it was Noel's. And then they had a massive argument about who was going to buy me a new guitar. And in the end, nobody bought me a new guitar, but Noel gave me this one, which he pointed out. You remember this guitar from Wonderwall and the tracks that we've been doing on the Be Here Now session and What's the Story. And so I accepted this one instead of going down Denmark Street and getting a new one. And I've kept it all these years, and it's still in nice condition. And obviously Noel got to play it again when he came back for the anniversary, and then we had a little chat about it, and here it is. We're going to use it today. Got the original capo in here as well.
That's Noel Gallagher's capo.
And the original owner's manual still in there. You can see the original case as well.
So we've got two outputs there.
Yeah.
What was the second output for?
That's his retrofitted pickup that he's got in there. So he's got the standard. You've got the standard one that came with the guitar, and then he retrofitted his other one. I'm still kept in a vault. So temperature controlled, so it's all in good condition. Pretty much the same as the day he gave it to me, really. It's not got any extra marks or anything on it. It's also nice to have these two things back together, the Don't Look Back in Anger piano, the guitar from What's the Story as well. So yeah, it's great them getting back together after all these years.
So this was the guitar he had for the Morning Glory sessions as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, so he had this one and the Gibson, which he would switch between. So this is the one he would bring. I think brought it on the train. I think he wrote maybe Cast No Shadow on the train on the way down. And then this was one because of preferred the pickups in it, I guess. But he would use live. He used them on a lot of TV appearances, the MTV Unplugged show and Nebworth show. Yeah, so it's got the significance, And then from the Be Here Now sessions as well, make an appearance on that as well. So yeah, it's got a lot of history behind it.
And do you know, other than Cast No Shadow, do you know how many, or if all, of the Morning Glory songs were actually written on this? The ones that he wrote here?
Not specifically, but he said that this was the guitar he would take up to the house because he was finishing off a lot of the lyrics, a lot of the parts as we were working on songs. He would be working on songs we hadn't recorded yet. So he would take this one up there, and that's what he would be working on in the room up in the coach house where you're staying as well. Yeah, it's a great piece of history. I mean, the guitar that Liam smashed up was given to me by my mum, so it had kind of... it was my first guitar, and my mum had given it to me, so it had quite a lot of sentimental value, even though it wasn't necessarily a valuable guitar. And my mum still remembers the day that Liam called her up to apologise. Yeah, so he had to call up and say, "Excuse me, Mrs. Brine, but you seem to have smashed your your guitar up that you gave to your son. So, but it's all right. Noel's giving him a new one, so it's all right." So, my mum often says that this is actually hers, but I'm not having it. All right.
Beautiful. I don't mind telling you, I've got tingles going down my spine. I'm super nervous to play it because the strings are like over 2 decades old. But let's do this. Okay, here we go. Let's play the Noel guitar. Gorgeous. Some really well made guitars, as they get older, the wood matures and the sound matures, and I can feel the bass kind of resonating against my chest as I'm playing it. It's got a really nice kind of mid-range as well. It's not scooped at all. It's really lined up perfectly with that mid-boosted Oasis sound. The guitar's really interesting. Sound-wise, it's all acoustic, but it plays like a little bit of a hybrid between an acoustic and an electric. It's got quite a deep neck, so yeah, it sits nicely in your hand, but it's kind of thin. The strings are closer together than I'm kind of used to. I've got absolutely massive hands. So I'm kind of having to calibrate to the guitar because in my mind I'm playing an acoustic, but it plays like an electric. It's really interesting. Okay, now let's do a little bit of sacrilege. Blur on Noel's guitar. So there is Noel's capo on Noel's guitar.
Yeah, so that was in the case. There was 2 in there actually. There was the gold one and a black one. So I have both.
Rock and roll.
Yeah.
I recorded stereo acoustic rhythm guitar parts for Don't Look Back in Anger on the Noel guitar, and after that Nick very kindly let anyone in the party who wanted to have a little go. And next it was time to record the EBO parts being played by Paul. I then recorded the electric rhythm guitar parts in the control room, and at this point was engaged in a full-blown war with every electric guitar in there to try and find one that would stay in tune in the heat. Thankfully, we did. And then, last of all, on the first day, friend of the channel John Carver recorded the lead guitar parts. That is John in the booth. He's got his... Tell us about your guitar, John.
So it's a 1984 Epiphone Riviera made in Matsumoku, Japan, same as Noel's.
Yep, so Noel was in here with all the dead flies, as he pointed out, back in the day. I think he had it in his head that this was Rockfield. This is all he kind of remembered, this little room with all the dust, cobwebs and dead flies in. So his guitars are in here, his amps are in here. And then he would stand out here or in the control room, and we were over there and he'd be tie line through to there.
And John's going to be doing the lead guitar, and so we're trying to keep it completely authentic, so we've got it set up as close as we can for a modern day version of the classic.
And this room's exactly the same as it was. Nothing's changed in here either. Same. The whole live room's the same.
We all unwound outside that evening because it was so hot. And, of course, while we were out there, we had a bit of a sing-song.
Sleeping on a plane, you know you can't complain. You took your last chance once again.
One of the brilliant things about recording at Rockfield is it's not just a residential recording studio, but it's a massive residential recording studio. So if you hire the coach house, as we did, you're also hiring 14 beds. If you hire the other studio, the Quadrangle, that's the Queen and Freddie Mercury studio, you're hiring, I think it's 24 beds. And so that makes Rockfield pretty unique. So if you want to visit Rockfield and you can bring a big crew of friends and musicians with you who are all willing to chip in for their rooms, that will really go a long way to driving down the costs. The only caveat I would make to that is, be careful who you order a takeaway curry from. The last 2 times I went to Rockfield, I ordered a curry from the same place on the last day. It's called Spice Trail in Monmouth. The first time they were an hour and a half late. I thought, that could just be a one-off thing. We'll give them another chance because the food was pretty good. And so this last time we ordered from them again, but this time they made us wait for a full 2 hours. And when the guy rolled up, I said, "You're 2 hours late, what's going on?" He said, "I'm really sorry, people came in the shop, so I served them first." Rockfield is really big, so you can't just wander off while you wait for your food to arrive. So unfortunately, we sat at the top of the drive, knackered and hungry for a full 2 hours waiting for our curry. So just a word to the wise, don't order your curry from Spice Trail. Anyway, on with the video. The second day at Rockfield dawned as bright, blue and swelteringly hot as the first, and next up it was Dave on piano. And of course, as Nick has already said, that is the original Don't Look Back in Anger piano that's played on the opening of the track by Bonehead. After Dave's piano parts, we were getting ready to film my vocals, but at that point, Kingsley, legendary owner of the studio, wandered in, having just got back from his holidays. Once in the studio, he gave us the biggest unintentional vote of confidence ever, because when he heard what Nick was playing through the speakers, he went, "Nick, what are you doing playing them that? You can't get the master tapes out." And of course, Nick responded, "They're not the master tapes, they've literally just recorded that," which made me think, we must have got it pretty close.
It's quite cool that Kingsley thought it was Oasis.
Shine! And the last thing we did was to record gang vocals before wrapping up for the final evening. These are my lovely backing singers. Say hello.
Hello.
Hello. Hello.
My soul slides away, but don't look back in anger, I heard you say.
And with that, we were done. Well, it is the end of my second day at Rockfield with the one and only Mr. Nick Brine. So Nick, have you had a good time?
I've had a great time. Yeah, talking a lot of shit. But yeah, kind of reminiscing, and yeah, I think the enthusiasm of everybody here is quite infectious, really. So it's kind of nice to talk about those times with people who are kind of so into it and kind of really interested in kind of every little detail. And yeah, just seeing the buzz on people's faces, I think it's been great. And yeah, lovely evening at Rockfield in front of the Wonderwall. So nice place to end our little tour. I'm going to walk you around a couple of the things. This is obviously the Rockfield courtyard. Done lots of things out here. The scene of the Ash 1977 Sick Party, secret track on the 1977 album. So the Wonderwall up here. The games room upstairs there where the old studio used to be. Spent many a night playing pool and darts with the Oasis boys up there as well. So we've got obviously the scene of the great battle of 1995.
Oh God, light
She
of
is
my
the legend,
life.
the one and only
Light of my life.
Amanda Panda. Just talking about the scene of the great battle of Rockfield of 1995.
Oh, what the old Gallagher's, the little shits, I tell you. Yeah.
You had to
They
clean
did.
out the mess, didn't
We
you?
still got the baseball bat somewhere, haven't we?
Baseball bat and the broken door. Yeah,
And the
it's all here.
TV that Liam threw around.
Oh yeah, we've got to look after our pension.
Yeah. But you were probably involved. Well, I imagine you oversaw the cleaning up of the mess, didn't you, the next day,
I
man?
took control
I'm
of
not
it.
sure
I
you-
seem to remember it was me and Lita.
No, it wasn't.
On our hands and
Excuse me, how rude. It was me. Don't, I just want this on camera. I frigging cleaned up, all right, after the Gallagher brothers. What's going on up here, Bino? What's going on? No, he's going bald! Bino's going bald! Let's have a look. Come on, show Auntie Amanda. Oh, dear me. Look! There's a little
Well,
square.
I'm 45 and I've had to put up with you for 30
Oh,
years.
shut
That's enough
up.
to send anyone bald,
Oh,
isn't it?
shut up. Can you tell that? Tell the body language. Look at this.
Are you drinking?
No, I haven't.
The sherries
How
again.
rude.
So this video is all about the process, the guitar, how we recorded and the vibe behind the scenes with the musicians. We fully reconstructed Don't Look Back in Anger from scratch, but because all of us went to so much trouble getting it right, I wanted to do it justice and not to rush the mix. But keep an eye out for that Don't Look Back in Anger music video, which will be out on my channel sometime in the near future. So this is my mate Paul, who played the Ebo parts on Don't Look Back in Anger. Say hello, Paul.
Hi.
What's been the highlight for you?
Highlight for me, it's got to be the Noel Gallagher guitar. Just a piece of history right there in your hands. Felt good to play it.
We're meeting Nick Brine in the studio. You know, he's got endless stories about his history working with Oasis and other bands, so it's fantastic to meet him and hear what he's got to say.
Will has stayed in the same room Noel Gallagher stayed in.
I have.
He's worked with Nick Brine, getting the drums mic'd up exactly as Alan White had it.
Yep.
And he's played Wonderwall on Noel Gallagher's Wonderwall guitar.
I have.
What's been the highlight for you?
Oh, it's got to be tracking the drums. Just nothing compares to being in a properly mic'd up studio, you know, playing on an absolutely gorgeous drum kit with Nick, you know, doing the recording. It's everything I could have ever asked for and more.
So this is Ed from Bristol, who was a member of the Inner Circle while I was running it. And he has come along as a guest and he did some gang vocals with us on Don't Look Back in Anger. So Ed, you've been here for the entire time, just watching on and being part of it. What has been the highlight for you?
So originally it was being able to actually get on the Wonderwall itself and start playing it. That was a big moment for me. But then it got topped today when I got to actually hold the Wonderwall guitar. So that was quite a surreal experience for me. My hands were so sweaty and stuff, and I was kind of like crapping myself. Such an expensive guitar, I just didn't want to do anything to it. But yeah, that was definitely a highlight for me, for sure.
And this is Henry, brother of Ed. He was originally going to be coming along and just kipping in his car. And as it happens, we had a cancellation and he got a bed. What has been the highlight for you?
I'm pretty new to guitar and music. I've only been playing for 6 months, and being surrounded by all of these talented musicians has given me some creative drive, and I'm going to take that forward, and that's been brilliant. Also, holding the Wonderwall guitar wasn't too shabby either.
You know, it is a piece of memorabilia, history, started a generation of music. But I think it's got to be working with Mr. Nick Brine, just man the legend, knowledge, the stories, working with someone like that, just chance of a lifetime.
The extra sauce there was, you know, the Nick Brine and his experiences and what he's done. You know, also playing my Epiphone, which is like Noel's guitar, in Rockfield with Nick Brine there. You know, doing Don't Look Back in Anger in the same studio. It's just amazing, yeah. So it's been fantastic.
We all said our goodbyes to Nick, having had a brilliant experience and all having made some memories to last a lifetime. As I mentioned earlier, the actual song we recorded will be out on my channel soon, so keep an eye out for that. A massive thanks to Nick for all his help and input, and as always, see you next time.